So thank you everybody for being here with me tonight. My name is Professor Kelsey Pose. This is Divination Academy, and I'm super excited that you're here with me tonight. I think I see maybe one or two new names with me tonight, so I guess I will do a little bit of introduction here tonight. So if this is your first time here with us, thank you so much for joining us. Divination Academy, we are a free pagan academy. We believe that everything should be free and accessible to everybody when it comes to resources, knowledge, and information. So that's what we do here. All of our classes, our events, our retreats, all of our certification programs, all that, it's all free. You can find information about us on our website, divinationacademy.com. Almost all of our classes get posted to our YouTube channel. If you search Divination Academy, we're the only one that pops up. Right now, we have 180 classes already uploaded and posted, and we have more waiting to get uploaded once they've been reviewed. And then you can also find out more information about us on our Facebook page. If you search Divination Academy on Facebook, you'll find us there as well. If you'd like to enroll as a student, you can send us a message saying enroll, and we'll get you enrolled. Sometimes it can take us a little bit to get back to you. We don't have a ton of admins, and we are kind of restructuring right now, so please give us a little bit of patience, but definitely send us a message, and we promise we will get back to you, and we'll get you enrolled, we'll get you set up in the community, and we'll get you through the whole process. And then a little bit about me, if you haven't been with me before. So my name is Kelsey Pose. I am a gray witch practitioner. I also consider myself a mystic. So I pull from everywhere. I pull from all different pantheons, religions, practice, regions, parts of the world. Some areas I'm not quite as strong in as others, but I do try my best to pull from everywhere. I look at the historical aspect, the anthropological aspect, the region aspect, all of that when it comes to magic. Also, with me being a gray witch, I pull from all types of energies. So I look and I strive to be in duality and balance. I love to be in the liminal spaces, like the energy of full moons, like tonight. I love it. So that is where I teach from. I don't teach just love and light, and I don't teach just what some people consider darkness. I teach everywhere, and I teach it all very balanced, dualistic, holistic kind of way. When I am not teaching, I am a mother to a 3-year-old. So if you hear screaming in the background, 3-year-olds have really loud lungs. And I have one child who right now, even if he's in another room, you might hear him if he yells. So just be patient with that, by the way. Okay, so tonight, this is one of the 8 different series that I'm teaching right now. This is Magic, Witchcraft, and Witchcraft Basics. And tonight we're doing solar magic. I'm really excited to do solar magic. I think it's crazy underestimated. I think a lot of people don't think about it, don't use it, don't teach it, don't even talk about it. I think it's way underrated. I think people put a lot of emphasis on the moon, which is fabulous. I love working with the moon. I host all of our moon ceremonies. I mean, I'm hosting our full moon ceremony tomorrow night here even. I love working with the moon. I understand that lunar magic is important and aligning with the moon is really important. But I personally feel solar magic is actually much more important. So we'll talk about that tonight, and we'll get into solar magic. Like I said, I love solar magic. It's very similar to lunar magic. It's different types of energy. You're looking at it in a different type of way, and you're harnessing it in a different type of direction. But it's fabulous energy to work with. You're new with me, I always teach from some type of study guide or structure. So this is where I'll be teaching from, which is from my business that I own, modgepodgemystic.com. So that's where my study guide is coming from tonight. I write a lot of content. I have workshops you do. You can book me for personal readings. You can book me for tarot card readings. You can book me for a lot of different services as well. But that's where my study guide will be from, that I'm teaching from tonight. So all the information's in there for you. So what is the sun? The sun is a celestial body, and celestial bodies are aggregation. They are aggregation of matter in the universe, planets, stars, and heavenly bodies, and they really affect all of us humans at all times. And the intensity is going to change from the time of the day and what's going on around us. I mean, right now the sun's really affecting us. There's a lot of stuff going on in the sun right now, guys. you're not paying attention to that, like scientifically and like what's going on in the solar system, I recommend it because the energies of what's going on in the solar system affect you. There's been a lot going on with the sun that's just weird and crazy, and a lot of extra activity and a lot of extra solar flares and a lot of extra stuff going on. But all of that energy affects us, and we have the ability to use it and work with it as witches and pagans in our lives for manifestation work, for magical practices, and for all sorts of other things. So, like I touched on before, we hear witches and pagans talk a lot about the celestial energies of the moon, how we can harness it and work with it, and all that fun stuff. But we can actually work with and harness every single type of celestial energy within our solar system. If you think about it, when you're working with a specific zodiac sign, part of that is also working with the energy of stars, specifically when you're working with the constellations and you're working with that energy as well. But so you also have the ability to work with all the other planets when you're working with the energies of the day. That's what you're doing when you're doing that. And you have the ability to work with the sun as well. Like I said, I think witches put and pagans put a huge emphasis on lunar magic, and I think it's super, super important. I think a big reason of that is because the divine feminine is really coming into light lately, especially in the last, 60, 70, years, especially in the last like 20. So I think that's a huge reason why that's happening. Granted, it's always been important throughout ancient cultures and histories, don't get me wrong, but I think the sun's so much more important. The sun is highly influential. Literally nothing on Earth could exist or survive without it. It's literally not possible. The sun is the center of our solar system for a reason. Like, sun equals life. It's incredibly, incredibly influential. So that's why I feel like it's incredibly important for us to remember that we have the ability to work with and harness that energy. So like I touched on, the sun is the largest object within our solar system. It actually literally contains 99% of the total mass of our entire solar system. Like, it's that big. And scientifically wise, it's actually mostly made up of hydrogen and helium, if you didn't know. Now, when you come to the planet of the sun from a magical standpoint, like I said, I honor and I respect and I work with the moon. I totally understand it. I get it. But when you work with the sun, like I said, I feel like it's much more potent, it's much more vital, it's much more energetic, and it's much, much, much more important for like survival and harnessing so much more of that growth, so much more of that nurture, and so much more of that energy, especially when it comes to transformation. The moon is great, and lunar energy is great for being able to go into depth and to go in and be able to do a lot of that work. But then the sun gives you the actual energy to be able to go and do the actual things, to put the movement behind the manifestations. Like, it's the actual energy of the work, it's the actual manifestations and intentions coming forward. That's where that energy really does come from, is from that sun energy. So when you think about it as well, when it comes to the sun, like, the sun's super important for everything on the planet. It's important for growth on plants and trees. It's important for our physical and our mental health. Like, our mental health even takes a dip if we're not out in the sun as much. I mean, I live in central Minnesota, and literally they recommend when you live here, pretty much everybody's supposed to be taking vitamin D, especially in the winter, because it's just, we don't get enough of it. And then we end up, almost everybody here ends up going through seasonal depression in some way, shape, or form, because we get so isolated from the sun. Like, your mental health takes a dip, like, it's that important to you. When it comes to the sun and the importance as well, with the sun and the magic and the energy, is it's there to help bring about like really positive change in our life. Like I talk about, like, it's that movement. It's that movement energy. It's the actual vitality. It's the actual motivation. It's the actual you taking the steps towards your goals. It's that energy. It's the energy that helps you develop your confidence. It's the energy that helps you develop your self-worth, to actually be able to feel like you can take those steps, you can make that movement. It's the energy that helps you get really, really grounded in who you are, in your purpose. It's your strength, it's your harmony, it's your peace, it's your happiness, it's your joy. Sun can also be incredibly potent energy to harness for protection. Some of the strongest protection spells that I have ever done and accomplished are done under certain phases of the sun, during certain times of the day under the sun, harnessing sun water, they're really using sun as a very potent time. I do a lot of casting during moon phases, but outside of like specific moon phases, most of my casting happens during the day. It happens connected to the sun, because it brings you all of that really, really vital movement energy. It's positive, it's very happy, it's very peaceful, protective as well. You also get abundance tied with the sun a lot. Like abundance, of course, abundance with the sun. Like the sun is what helps make everything grow. Like it's what helps make the plants grow, the trees grow, and everything around us grow. So, of course, abundance would be deeply tied to that. So infusing the energy, the sun's energy into our workings can really lead to some very potent magic, some very potent outcomes from our manifestations, our intention settings, and our workings. Let's see. Talked about that. The sun is also seen as an archetype of healing as well, which is another reason why the sun can be is seen as also a very happy, jovial, very peaceful, calm, harmonious energy, because it also does heal. It also does have that energy with it as well. Now, there are concepts when it comes to if you're very much more attached to the sun than you feel like maybe you are to the moon. Maybe you don't quite naturally align with lunar magic, the lunar phases. Maybe you don't quite feel quite as connected as some people say they do around you. You feel like you're way more active, you get a lot more done, you just feel like you're really drawn to your spirituality, you like to meditate during the day, you really like to be in the sun. You could actually be a solar witch, which is totally possible if you want to label yourself, but remember, you don't have to. I've talked about this a million times. So it's definitely possible that you actually choose to work with the sun more than you choose to work with the moon. Like I said, I work with the moon a lot, but I also do most of my casting when it comes to the sun, because then when it comes to the moon, like it's only for very specific phases and certain times that I really choose to work with the moon. But I will literally cast every single day underneath specific phases of the sun. I mean, I cast something every single day underneath the rays of the sun, connecting with the sun, using and harnessing the sun's energies. When it comes to the sun in astrology, the sun itself, actually, like I touched about before, represents the self and our ego. It really rules our life force. It's really considered as like this because it symbolizes an unbroken circle, and then it has a dot in it. And that is the soul with a dot in the center that represents our spark for life. And so that's really what the sun represents. So the sun also is our creative enterprises. It's also all of our projection of our person, our art, our business, having children, parenthood, all of that fun stuff. So that's really where that's connected to. When you look at it from ancient cosmology, the sun actually traveled around the earth, creating the arc, which is why we actually started calculating and keeping track of the year, is because of the sun, and we really wanted to understand like the movement of the sun, the traveling of the sun. And the sun travels through all 12 signs of the zodiac annually throughout its journey, which is why it's important throughout astrology. You will also have a sun sign, not just your moon sign when it comes to your astrological signs. I feel like most people don't realize that your sun sign is just as important as your moon sign. It's not just your moon sign that matters. You actually have 3 that really matter a lot. You have plenty more houses that matter, but you have 3 that really matter. But your sun sign is, if you don't know it, you really should know it. It really, really does affect you. For me, it doesn't really change. It's kind of freaking same. My chart's so frustrating. Sorry. If you haven't been with me before, literally 9 of my houses I'm Virgo, and then in the other ones I'm Capricorn. So it's literally just crazy for me. That position really, really matters. And that position is actually determined by where the sun's position is on your birthday, when you're born, obviously. Other people will also refer to it as your star sign, by the way. So you may also have it here referred to as that. But it's really actually, a lot of people even consider it the most important planet in astrology. because it's really your inner makeup. It's really like inner, like who, like it is your inner makeup. It is like overall like your personality makeup. And in Chinese astrology, the sun represents the yang, which is the active, assertive, masculine life principle. And Indian astrology, the sun is called the Sura, and it represents the soul, the kingship, and the highly placed persons in the father. Before I jump into the chat, see if you guys have any questions. I wanted to touch on one thing quick because I also can kind of mentioned right here, even kind of talks about it. But in Chinese astrology, the sun represents the active, assertive masculine. And if you even looked at it in Indian astrology, it really kind of pulls more towards like that father, that masculine energy. It's incredibly common for you to see the sun represented as a masculine energy and a masculine force. This is highly debatable though. There are cultures that are older. There are cultures even mixed in throughout the same time frames that do not view the sun as a masculine energy. So you need to be careful with that when you work with it and decide. So, for example, if you're working with it in general and you choose that it does represent masculine energy for you, you may not be able to work with, for example, a deity like Amaterasu. Amaterasu is a very powerful, prominent, potent deity of the sun, but she's a goddess. And she's not the only goddess that's attached to the sun. I mean, most would consider, even many Celtics even would consider Brigitte attached to the sun as Ethan. And there's quite a few others, so just keep that in mind as well. While many traditions, many cultures do consider the sun masculine, it's not a universal concept. There are many that do consider the sun to be the feminine aspect of the universe. This has actually been a debate my husband and I have been having for a really long time. He thinks that it really is supposed to be like that the moon is masculine and the sun is feminine, and it's been a debate for a while. So I'm going to jump in the chat, see if you guys have any questions, any comments, anything like that. Okay, go ahead, honey.
Hi. Nice to see you,
Hi.
by the way.
I
Or hear
know,
you.
I know. I've canceled classes for like 2 weeks because life has just been ugh. But
I get
go
that.
ahead.
Um, without going like super in depth, what is like why how do I put this? Why is the sun 99% of the total mass of our of our solar system? Like how does that equal up to that?
um,
Do you know what I'm asking?
I know what you're asking. I don't know if I know enough how to do that without like literally like it's a bunch of math.
Oh no, I no math, please.
So like when you it's just the way when you calculate the mass between like all the planets and like everything that exists in the solar system, and then it's comparable to the size of the mass of the sun, like the sun literally is taking up 99% of the space within the entire solar system. And that's why we all are like literally attached to it through its gravitational pull. Its pull is so strong because it's literally taking up that space in the solar system.
Okay. So it's
Beyond
not
that,
just
it's literally a bunch of math.
okay. Okay, so it's not necessarily about the size, it's the space and atmosphere that it takes up too.
Yeah, it's literally the mass. Yeah, it's
Okay.
correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to grab a drink here and probably cough. So give me 1 minute. I'm going to mute myself so you don't hear me. Okay, sorry guys. That's the joys of asthma. Okay, let's jump back in here. So, when it comes to solar slash sun worship, because you'll see it references both, by the way. You'll see it referenced as sun magic, sun worship, solar magic. You'll see it as both. You'll also see it spelled with both the C and the CK. It's just depending on which branch of the magic you're looking at. Typically, CK is going to be a lot more European, by the way. Okay, so solar and sun worship. Solar worship, literally, it's been around for an incredibly long time. The sun rules the cycle of our day, it rules the cycle of our year. I mean, honestly, some would say that probably solar worship's been around since humans got the first inkling to start worship anything. The sun and the moon were the two things that they probably started worshiping first. So sun worship and veneration of the sun literally has been represented throughout history and antiquity for centuries. We see it in early Egypt as early as the 14th century BCE. With atomism, we see the sun being venerated in the building of Stonehenge. The sun is also venerated in Göbekli Tepe. We see lots of sun symbolization without Atlantean culture. We see sun symbolization within the Tartarian Empire. So we see it back incredibly far. And there's many, many, many sacred sites around the world that literally exist simply to track the movement of the sun throughout the year and to honor it during its most sacred days, especially like during equinoxes and solstices. There's many in Mesoamerica as well. Like it's literally everywhere. So although sun worship has often and frequently been used to term like pagan religion, it's actually in fact relatively rare. Like I said, what do you hear about more often in pagan religions than anything? You hear about worshiping the moon when it comes to celestials' bodies, but it did used to be a lot more prominent in a lot of other cultures. Like I said, Egyptian, Indo-European, Mesoamerica, like they very much had very, very, very developed solar religions. And all these groups, what they really, really have in common is their urban civilization had a very strong ideology on sacred kingship. So a lot of times you'll see like the solar god and the solar deity being attached to the empire, being attached to the state, being attached to the royal family, the royal divine bloodline. For example, if you're at my Amaterasu class and if you were at my first Shintoism class, like you see it there. Literally, she is the sun because she's also meant to represent literally the entire country, the sovereignty, the divinity, and the holiness of the state of Japan. Like she is there to represent also the government. She's very much tied to that. So you see that in many, many, many different cultures. That was very prominent in the Egyptian culture as well. In Inca and in Peru, the Nabateans, like they built a lot of different cities, like even Petra, like so many that are literally centralized around solar worship. So this has been around since antiquity. This isn't a new thing. This isn't like a modern thing. This is just something that I think we go through these cycles where we get imbalanced as humans and we start to focus on one celestial body over the other. And for a while, we've been in the lunar phase. And now, I mean, I guess I'm one that wants to bring the solar magic back. So let's talk about some solar deities and gods of the sun that you can choose to work with if you want to start doing solar magic and working with the sun. Because one way to start working with the sun in a magical way for rituals, spells, anything is to add solar deities to those rituals and spells, to add solar deities to your part of your worship, to start developing relationships with them, to add them to your altar, things like that. So you have that ability to do that just like you do with any lunar deities that you work with or any deities attached to any of like the zodiac specifically. Because I don't know about you, but a big reason why my patron deities where they are, it's because they attach to my zodiac. That's a huge reason why. Lots of others, but that's a big part of it. So if you do that already, you may not have noticed that you're doing that. You can also do that for solar deities and for the sun. So common ones that you can use, there are many. I picked some common ones to put in here. So we have Helios. Helios is the god of the sun. He is a very prominent figure in Greek mythology. He is known for his role as a driver of the sun chariot, traversing across the sky each day. Helios was worshipped and revered, particularly in the islands of Rhodes, and his influence expanded as he became associated with other deities. During the Roman Empire, he was even worshipped, and literally worshipped as the actual sun as well. And then his son, there's a common myth and a common story that has to deal with him, which has to deal with his son. He really wanted to drive his father's chariot across the sky, but that ended up leading to incredibly disastrous consequences. He lost control of the chariot, which ended up causing chaos and destruction on Earth. And then Helios was actually no longer associated with the sun anymore because of that. That is actually when Apollo steps in. So you have Apollo. The god of Apollo was the Greek and Roman god of the sun. So unlike most other Roman divinities, which typically have a lot of their origins in italic origins, he was very much identified as a Hellenic deity. Like he very much came from Greece to over into Rome. He really was like a truly Greek god. And then he was a god of the sun. He was also considered to be god of human intellect, science, divination, and the arts. And then he was the one who presided over medicine, music, and poetry. And he is also considered the son of Zeus and the son of the Titan Leto. He is very prominently from the Greek island of Delos, and his twin sister is considered Artemis. If you want to learn more about him, you can read more in the guide. I'm not going to go over every single detail about the deities, but I will give you a little brief rundown more in the guide later. Another one that you have is Ra, coming from the Egyptian pantheon. The sun god Ra was actually one of the most revered and sacred deities to be worshipped. He was considered king of the gods, and he was considered the father of creation. He was considered the most sacred of all gods. He literally embodied the sun. He embodied the sheer power of the sun, and he gave life to the entire universe. So incredibly holy deity to be able to be attached to the sun and work with. You then have Inti, and Inti is the ancient Inca sun god. Holds great significance in the Incan culture because if you think about it, without the sun, you also don't have crops. And was considered the god of creation within the Incan Empire as well. The sun was also not only seen as a celestial body and providing warmth, but had very, very deep significance to Incan society because it was a primary source of heat and light and was essential for everyday living and everyday life. And then last but not least, I have in the guide Amaterasu. I have her in there because, again, I wanted to show you the aspect that the sun can be represented as both a masculine and feminine energy, and she comes from the Japanese mythology and religion of Shintoism. Like I did an entire class on her, so I'm not going to do much on her beyond this, but she represents the nation of Japan. She's tied to she literally, the descendants of the royal family and the imperial family are considered to actually be like directly related to her. She represents the sun. She represents a lot. If you want to learn more about her, I do have a study guide on her on my website on modpodcast.com. I don't know if I got it to divinationacademy.com yet. Probably not. I'm kind of behind on that. And then the class should be available soon on the website, hopefully. Now, the next thing when it comes to solar magic is just like the moon, the sun has a cycle as well. There's two different cycles. So you have the energy cycle, that's the yearly cycle. So obviously, the 12 months that we go through, the yearly cycle, and the 4 seasons within that 12 months. But then you also have the daily cycle. So within the daily cycle, actually, hold on. So within the yearly cycle with the seasons, I just want to down here, springtime really represents growth. So that's where we really see a shift from dormant energies to really like more quickening ones. It's the perfect time to really plant your seeds and set long-term intentions. In summertime, when it comes to magical workings, when it comes to connecting to the sun, this is going to be more of the work energy. This is going to want to be when the sun's the brightest, it's the fullest, especially around Beltane, which just happened. And then we have Litha coming up, which is the summer solstice. So we've got a lot of really potent energy going on around there. But this is when you're going to do the work. You're going to actually set the intentions. You're going to put in the work to get your motivations done. So this is when you're going to actually do the work. Autumn time is when you really reflect. So that's when the sun kind of starts to lose momentum again. The energy kind of starts to dwindle a little bit again. So that's when we kind of start to realize what we've already accomplished. We start to get a little bit left that we need to get done before we get into our rest period, and we start to adjust for the future. Then in the winter time, when it comes to the sun energy and the magic that you're going to attach to, this is going to be more of that rest energy. This is when the sun's energy is going to be at its lowest point of the year. This is when we really kind of choose to be very picky about when we use our solar magic and our sun energy, because we need to be careful that we're being picky about when we're warming our homes. We need it to warm our homes. We need it to cook. We need it more directed towards other ways, like our hearts, our inner space, our hurt, like everything that feeds and nourishes us, helps us rest and really feel safe and secure. So that's what that energy and that time is going to be really about. Now, when it comes to during the specific times of the day, like I talked about, just like with the moon, it has its phases during the day as well. So the moon, it goes through in that 28-day cycle when it's going through from new to waxing and full and waning and all those cycles. But when it comes to the sun, it goes through it a lot more quickly. But you feel it in a much more subtle level, in a much subtle way. But it does still have effect on your spells. So when it comes to rising sun and you want to do magic during the rising sun, this is used for new beginnings, fresh start, and growth type spells. So healing, happiness, positivity, truth, self-care, peace, amplifiers, the element of air. Like this is when you're really going to want to do this. Also charging sun crystals, making sun tea, doing meditation, greeting the sun, sunbathing. This is a great time to do that. And that's all that magic, and it's going to be really potent with this phase and this energy. When it comes to the morning sun, you have growth, drawing on positivity into your life, such as money, love, friendships, and it's really great for courage during the morning sun time. Then you have your noon sun, which is this is when the sun's at its peak. So this energy is used to really supercharge a spell. So this is the best time to create solar or sun water. This is when you can really do very potent growth, abundance, sex, and money spells, health spells, justice spells, and protection spells. Like very potent time to really call on that energy for that. The afternoon sun is going to be very similar to that fall energy that we talked about. So this is going to be that reflection. This is going to be like you're going to be able to see beneath the sun. The sun's energy is really kind of like starting to send away. It's starting to reduce, but it's still there for you to kind of work with and play with. So it can give light to negative thoughts and habits. So it's a really good time to start doing resolutions, clarity, and psychic connections. And then for the setting sun, as the sun sets, you kind of start to enter that winter phase. So this is where the rest happens. This is when we start to really become cozy. So this is when we want to do things like charging our tools, doing gratitude, doing release work, doing divination when we're working with the sun, things like that. That's what that time is going to be really potent about. You then also have the ability to observe the sun's life cycle through the wheel of the year. If you don't know what the wheel of the year is, it's really just a visual depiction of the cyclical nature of the seasons and of time. Not every pagan uses the wheel of the year. It's actually really a very Wiccan concept. But it is almost every pagan uses it in some way, shape, or form. But because like I said, it's a visual depiction of the cyclical of nature. So there's another way that you can harness and work with the energies of the sun. That calendar really follows the movement of the sun. So those equinoxes, those solstices, those are gonna be the really, really four potent times. Those are gonna be your four solar festivals. And then there's also four fire festivals as well. And so you can really kind of pay attention to those are going to be a great way to connect to your solar magic and to harness solar magic. We've just had Beltane, really, really potent with the sun, really, really potent with connecting to the energy of the sun. I mean, that is all about movement and energy and like passion and like really, really connecting to like who you are with that energy, also that cosmic dance between the co-creators. But it really is about all of that energy with the sun underneath. And then we have Litha coming up, which is very, very potent time now to really work with the sun as well. Those two are probably my two favorite like holidays and Sabbats on the wheel of the year to really work with. Um, you then have other potent times like solar eclipses. These are much more rare and unique times to really work with the sun, and to do solar magic. But solar eclipses are, some will teach you, don't ever work with them. Some teach you they're bad omens. Some teach you that it's not good energy. Some teach you that you're going to have unwanted or negative consequences from it. I don't I don't. I say, why not? Like during this time, the energy of the sun is actually considered to be three times more potent than like what a regular typical new moon would be that you're working with. So why wouldn't you want to work with this energy? As long as you're doing it in respect and gratitude and in a responsible manner, in a way you're maintaining proper energy hygiene. Like I don't see any reason why you can't. So when you're working with a solar eclipse, like symbolically, it really can help you work with your emotions, help you dominate your ego, work with your will, and really work with a lot of that supernatural spiritual renewal, and really bring you through like a very introspective period. It's really like shedding old energies. It's a very much like shedding old energies. It's really signifies like the darkness of the ego, the potential of your spiritual rebirth, the potential that you have to go with your transformation, your evolution, and to be able to release past patterns. Almost every solar eclipse that you go through with the energy that you're going through with it, like it's releasing past patterns so that you can embrace a brand new perspective. So I say, why not go for it, work with it. It's an incredibly potent time to do so. And it's great, great solar magic to harness. You can harness it any way that you would when we talk about it down below here in just a minute. So we're going to talk about different spells, different rituals, and correspondences here in a minute. But you can work with a solar eclipse the same way that you would work with any of the other phases, like I've talked about. So next, before I touch on correspondences and start working on worship, I'm going to jump in the chat and see if you guys have any other questions so far. Go ahead, Joanna.
I have a question. I'll put my hand down in a second. So just later on, if you could, so the sun just went into Gemini, and I'm a Gemini. My birthday's on Saturday. I'm gonna be 50. And I was just wondering if you later on could touch on something about the sun and being in Gemini, if that was okay.
I wasn't planning on doing it, but yeah, I can do that.
All right, you don't have to. I mean, obviously.
No, it's okay.
you have
I
to.
can do that.
I was just like asking. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Any other question, guys? Yeah, I should have said that too. Happy early birthday, Joanna, especially 52. That's a big one. Where'd you get that emoji? That cake looks so cool. Sorry, I got distracted by emojis. Okay, let's jump back in, guys. I got distracted by thinking about Joanna's question there for a second. Okay. So correspondences to the sun is what we're going to touch on next. So first, if you haven't been with me before, well, what is a correspondence? So a correspondence is an item or a symbol that is meant to connect you to a very specific energy through its representation. Sometimes you also hear it referenced as an item to respect, honor, or venerate that energy as well. Whether it be a deity, an archetype energy, or like the zodiac energy, or a celestial body like the sun. So correspondences connect to the sun for the animals. You're going to see lions, roosters, phoenixes, bears, pheasants, eagles, hedgehogs, spiders, horses, griffins, hawks, a lot of serpents and snakes as well, dragons as well. The element you'll see is going to be fire. Colors are going to be yellow, gold, and orange. The chakra is going to be the solar plexus. Herbs and flowers are going to be the marigold, sunflower, chamomile, succulents, rosemary, golden seal, I love dandelion. I love dandelion for solar magic. I work with dandelions as much as I can as soon as they pop up. Bay leaves, juniper, pineapple, heliotrope, buttercup, bergamot. You can also use oranges to really connect to the sun. I love using oranges to connect to the sun. It's one of my favorite things to put in spell jars to represent the sun is oranges and orange peels. Stones and crystals, you're going to use sunstone. I love that one. Citrine, I love that one. Carnelian, that one's my favorite. Amber, tiger's eye, yellow topaz, red agate, goldstone, plenty of others as well. Deities, all the ones we talked about. So we have Helios, Apollo, Amaterasu. We have also Inti, Sol, Ra, Sura, Tunis, Utu, Lu, Shamosh. Symbols that we can work with is going to be the disc, circles, spirals, some crosses as well represent the sun. The circle with a dot in it, cardinal directions. Actually, back to the crosses is a big reason why Christianity actually uses that symbol. FYI. Themes that you can work with: gold, abundance, vitality, life, your ego, self-confidence, strength, pride, healing, growth, creativity, protection, harmony, peace, vitality, movement, goals, intentions. The zodiac sign that's going to be associated with the sun is going to be the Leo specifically. Trees are going to be oak and cedar, and the day of the week is going to be Sunday. So if you want to do solar magic, the most potent day to do it is going to be Sunday. That is going to be the most potent day. I personally like the most potent time like ever is within that noon hour on a Sunday. First Sunday of the month. That's one of the most potent times that you can really work with solar magic. You're going to get some great results, especially in abundance, in pride, confidence, self-worth, creativity, and protection. Great on that time. So magical ways to work with the sun. So using the sun's magical correspondence and working with the sun in your magical practices and rituals and spells can bring a lot of positive and transformative energy into your life. So the sun radiates very warm and stimulating energy. It really, really encourages growth, abundance, and protection. Those are the three really core things that I really use it to work with. But you can use any of the ones that we've talked about. But those are really what scream at me. That's what I really love to work with. That's also what's very common for it to be worked with, but it's also incredibly versatile. You can even use the sun simply as an amplifier to any other type of magics that you're working with. So you can use solar magic to really, really make positive change happen to various aspects of your life, which is why I love solar magic and sun magic. It's incredibly versatile. So for instance, you can use solar magic to promote the growth of your career, to enhance your relationships, to attract wealth and prosperity. So like solar magic really can like become a pocket in like each areas of your life, to promote what you want, to bring in what you want, to help you meet your goals, your intentions, and your manifestations, while also giving you a very protective quality, giving you strength, and giving you the energy to actually accomplish it and do it. Because if you haven't been with me before, every time I talk about intention setting, manifestation setting, the mindset, the anchorage, the actually setting the intention is incredibly important, and putting it out into the universe is incredibly important. But you also have to do the work afterwards. You have to make the energy and the movement happen within that energetic connection for that manifestation to happen. And that's what the solar energy really, really, really can amplify for you. Um, when it comes to it as well, you can use the sun to illuminate the world within yourself and the world around you. That can mean that it can uncover hidden truths within yourself or within relationships and people around you. It can be a great way to help you like be able to see through deception, to be able to protect yourself from deception and deceit. It can also be a great way to boost your confidence because it really can illuminate some parts of yourself that you may have forgotten about that really need to be celebrated, which boost your confidence, boost your self-worth, and really help you become way more self-empowered. It can help you with your personal development. And you can use the sun really a lot on shadow work. Bringing Amaterasu in on shadow work and letting her just like shine her light on like the caverns inside is pretty illuminating. It gets into some cracks that the sun, the moon might not quite get into that you may have brought in there before with you. So that's a very, very great way to work with it and why you want to choose to work with it. You can add the correspondences of the sun to anything that you would like your altar, like any of your spells or rituals. There's so many other rituals that you can do. We're going to talk about a few here. The first one we're going to talk about is drawing down the moon. So drawing down the moon is an incredibly transformative practice. I absolutely love it. The specifics of the ritual can vary, so it's going to vary based on your individual practice, your tradition. But generally, what it is you pick a specific time during the day where you go out and you are very specifically channeling the energy of the sun into you. It's much more than just going out and soaking in the rays. It's much more than just sunbathing. You are visualizing, doing meditation, doing spoken invocations, whatever you want to do, whatever works for you, to connect that sun's energy and mindfully and energetically draw that sun's energy into yourself, into your being. You can even do this by placing it into a bowl. You can place a mirror next to you to be a reflective surface to absorb it, to draw it down into the mirror as well, or into the bowl of water. But the whole point of this is it's focusing on capturing that very radiant and vital energy of the sun. And it really allows you to be able to take that energy and internalize it and use it however you need to. It ends up becoming a spiritual battery for you so that you can use it when you need to later. So a lot of people talk about drawing down the moon. This is pretty much the same thing, but you're doing it with the sun. Personally, I like to do this during like the noontime hour or in the rising if I can. I try to do it in the rising as often as I can so that I can also make sure that I'm bringing Amaterasu on time day, because I like to make sure that I do that. But drawing down the sun can be done whenever you would like. But you can choose how you want to do that. If that means that you want to do some grounding and earthing while you're doing that, and that's how you're able to connect to the visualization, that's how you're able to connect that energy to actually bring it into who you are, bring it into your soul to create that spiritual battery. You can do that. If it's through visualization, you can do that. You need to say affirmations out loud, you can do that. If you want to say prayers, you can do that. Like I said, you can add reflective surfaces as well. I like to bring mirrors out too. You can also draw it down into the mirror and bring the mirror to your altar. You can also draw it down into mirrors to put like smaller compact mirrors with the sun drawn down into the mirror, into spell jars and things like that. You can also use it for drawing it down into compact mirrors for beauty spells and for glamours and things like that. I like to put it into the compact mirror and draw it down, or draw it down into a stone associated with it as well, and then put it into a spell jar. But it's, like I said, super, 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 super valuable practice that really, really, really recharges your spiritual battery. It brings out the radiance, the beauty of it, and it brings you into that very vibrant, that very moving, that very self-worth energy. When it comes to sunbathing, You can do sunbathing as well. So just like we honor and celebrate and venerate the moon by going outside and bathing and doing moon bathing, you can do the same with sunbathing. Sunbathing is just going to be different than drawing down the moon because this isn't a drawing down the sun. Because when it comes to sunbathing, like you're just enjoying the experience. Like you're really letting it radiate into your skin. You're not using it as a spiritual battery. You're not using it for it's like you're not drawing it in for that purpose. So they are two different. This is just an intentional like soaking up the energy of the rays into your body and into your system. You can also make sun tea, perform abundance and money spells. You can perform self-empowerment mirror magic spells. You can add candles to any of your protection spells to calm the element of fire and connect to the sun that way. You can greet the sun every morning by doing sunrise yoga, prayer, or gratitude, or by greeting like a deity like Amaterasu, who has a specific greeting for the sun every morning you can do. You can work with a solar deity in your practice and add them to your altar, add them to your prayers, add them to any of your spells or your rituals, add them when you're casting circles. You can also connect to the sun through color magic. You can connect to any energy through color magic every day of your life. It's a very simple way to do a very, very simple button way that you can connect to any energy, especially if you don't want people to know that you're doing it. Because you can use color magic in any way that you want. The color of your nails, the color of your hair, the color of your clothes, things like that. More often than not, when I pick my hair colors, because I change the color of my hair, like snakes change their skin, it's usually I'm usually doing it for a magical purpose. That's usually why I pick the color I pick on. I end up landing on. So you can do color magic in a lot of ways, and you can connect the sun through color magic with the color yellow. Also orange, but color yellow is going to work the best. And then, like I said, you can make sun tea. You can create a sun altar. If you have an altar right now, specifically for the moon, you can create a separate one for the sun, or you can add them both together. I like to kind of keep them separate. Or you can add a solar deity to your altar to represent the sun. You can add how you create a sun altar is you add any of the correspondences to the sun that correlate to you, and you create that altar to be able to be a sacred container for you to be able to connect to that energy. If you need some more information about creating an altar, I did already teach a class on this. I will be writing a new guide on it and hosting an event on it, I think, soon. And hopefully the class will get posted soon to YouTube, but the study guide is already on Divination Academy. Other things that you can do is you can work with your solar plexus. That is a chakra that is the energetic portal that is going to be connected to the sun. It's located in the center of your torso and is below your breastplate. There's many, many different ways that you can work with this energy. If it's in healthy alignment, you're going to really be comfortable with your own inherent power. You're going to feel very empowered. You're going to really know who you are and be very, very comfortable with that. If it is imbalanced, you're going to feel unworthy very often. You're going to have issues with things like that. And it's going to be able to help you create more of a willingness and an understanding your own personal power. So you may have issues with that, your self-worth and confidence if it's imbalanced. If you want to learn more of how to work with your solar plexus, I do have some activities and an image in the guide for you. And then I also have a guide on modgepodgemystic.com. It's all about working with energy. I already taught a class on working with energy here that should be posted soon, hopefully. And then I have an ebook that you can purchase through me too that has a lot of extra activities and it walks you through this more detailed. You can also do sun salutations to do solar magic and connect to the sun. Sun salutations is really simply just greeting the sun. There's lots of different forms that you can do this. There are certain yogas that you can do. There's a sun rising position. Also, like if you work with Amaterasu, for example, like some people will have very specific readings. So if you work with Amaterasu, for example, what you'll do is you'll clap twice, you'll bow, and then you'll clap again. Honey, you may get a nice dance sunbathing. Sorry, I just popped in the chat real quick for some reason. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that. But I actually personally never start out a day without any type of way, shape, or form. Even if it's me simply like looking at the sun throughout the window, acknowledging the sun, saying a gratitude, saying the thanks that I woke up that morning and for the energy and everything that it can offer for me. That it's rolling in my life, it's rolling for the planet. I say some type of small, simple prayer like every single day in that direction of that celestial body to connect to that energy and to make sure that I feel alive. You can work with the sun on Sunday, like I talked about. And then another way that you can also work with the sun is through the element of fire and candle magic. Candle magic is like fairly common for people to do. It's fairly simple, it's fairly easy, it's actually fairly inexpensive for the most part. It's been used for ever. I mean, for an incredibly long time. I mean, the first candle dates back to at least 10th century BC. So it's at least that far back they've been using candles. And so like why not? Like why not use candles? How you do candle magic is you actually visualize your intentions, your goals, your manifestations for that spell, that working with that ritual. And you be really as specific and clear as you possibly can be with every single detail. Once your visualization is set and clear, you can add any of the things you would like crystals, herbs, oils, etc. Then you light your candle while visualizing your intentions, your goals, your manifestations. And you visualize them all coming to fruition with the passion of that flame, the passion of the energy of the sun, with the vitality and the movement of the energy of the sun. And then you leave your candle burning until it burns out, or you feel your intention has been met and accepted by the universe. And then when you blow out your candle, you visualize that you're blowing out to the universe, that you're going to manifest it if you don't let it burn all the way. And then the last thing that I have here for you is using sun water and how to make sun water. I love using sun water almost more than I love using moon water. I'm not gonna lie. I love sun water. So super similar to moon water. You can create sun to harness and work with its energies within your craft. You can add it to spell jars, you can add it to spells and rituals, you can add it to showers and baths, you can add it to stuff that you're doing around the house, you can add it to floor washes, you can add it to so many different things. So it's simply when you leave water in the sun, it can really harness its magical, healing, protective, and energetic properties. So you leave that in the water with the intention for it to be, you leave the water outside. So what you'll do is you'll find a glass jar, you'll clean and cleanse it, and then you add any of the sigils if you want onto the jar or into the jar, and then you add water. You then hold the jar in your hand and you visualize and say your intentions or your blessings for your sun water. So whether you want it to be healing or protection or happiness or peace and harmony or vitality and movement, whatever you want it to be. And then you'll place the jar under direct sunlight, preferably outdoors. If you want to use crystals and herbs and things like that, then you'll surround your jar in the crystals and the herbs. You'll have it be all surrounded so that energies and the correspondences will also be there. And then you'll leave it under the direct sunlight for at least 2 hours or longer. And then you'll bring it in, you'll seal it, and you'll be able to use it when you need to for whatever working you would like to use it for. Like I said, you can use it for so many things. You can even put it in spray bottles and use it as a cleansing, a water cleansing and spray and clean and misting. You can use it when you're working with your plants. I have even taken sun water and made sun water and then literally taken that entire bucket and that's gone into my garden or my herb garden, and with all my plants and things like that. So you can use it for so many things. You can add it to your altar for a solar deity. You can be an offering. You can use it to anoint your solar plexus when you're working on your solar plexus and getting it balanced. You can use it to make sun tea. You can use it to make tea. You can use it for banishing rituals. You can use it for creativity, success, happiness, and strength spells. Just you can use some water even just to cleanse your altar and to cleanse your tools and to really like work with your tools and get them reset. So you have lots and lots and lots and lots of options when it comes to that. So give me 1 second. I just want to triple check here. Okay, I think I've gone over everything I want to go over with solar magic. Let me just see here. Oh, Joanna, I'm so sorry you have to go. Okay. I'll send her a message then with the question that she asked because that was really about her. And I didn't want to go into sun astrology because I haven't watched all of Michael's classes, but if she's talked about that, I wanted to direct people to her classes. Because Micah has amazing astrology classes here. So if she has taught that, like I would love for people to go watch her classes. So I'll just send her a message and answer her question privately. I knew this class was going to be shorter than most because I'm not doing any guided work tonight. So if you guys don't have any questions, that is all I had for class tonight when it comes to solar magic and sun magic. Like I said, it's super overlooked, but it's actually a fairly simple magic to work with. It's incredibly potent. And I feel like it's more important than lunar magic. I really do. The amplifications are a lot more potent. The sun's just more vital for us to survive. The moon is incredibly important. Don't get me wrong. The moon is important for life. Yes. The moon is important for Earth. Yes, it's important for our stability. It's important for our gravitational pull. It's important for the ocean. It's important for actually some don't even think that. And some don't even, and actually, if you look at some theories, some don't think the moon is actually that important at all. Some think the moon, for example, is a satellite. So, I mean, it really just depends on like how you view the moon and things like that. But when it comes to the sun, like you can't get away from how important the sun is. Like we literally everything on the planet can exist about it. So it's incredibly potent and important matter. Go ahead and Sunny, honey. Sorry, why did I just say Sunny? I did. Go ahead, honey.
Kind of fits.
It does.
I'm in with my name. Anyway, I know I was to be more potent doing it in direct sunlight, but say like if someone lives in an apartment or that, could they also draw down the sun through a window? Just like open the shades or even open the window and just or even if or
Yeah,
like wintertime when you more need the sun's rays, you know.
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I do it all the time. As long as like obviously, like you said, obviously it's gonna be more potent if you can get outside, like and actually get directly under it, but it's not always possible. So as long as you can get as close as you can and like you're making that connection, you can. I mean, the glass is secret.
Okay, thank you. Also, thank
You're
you very much
welcome.
for the class because after the last class with you, I believe, and you said I need to work on my solar plexus. I
Yes.
looked up, I looked it up more. And it's more than just about happy joy, which I did not know, so or didn't remember. So yeah, this helps a lot. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. You're super welcome. Solar plexus is a hard one to work with, though. I'm not gonna lie. And because the sun's so important and it affects us so much and it changes so much, we have so much going on with it all the time. I feel like our solar plexus gets imbalanced more frequently for almost everybody. Also, it's attached to such a core part of who we are. So I feel like everybody kind of struggles with that one. So also don't like give yourself any shame about it either. Because trust me, like solar plexus is a hard one to deal with for many reasons.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay, well, if there's no more questions, guys, that is what I have for class tonight. Let's see, what am I teaching next? I don't know. I don't know. Sunday, let's see. I'm gonna guess. Am I teaching Hestia on Sunday? That's me, my guess. My guess is I'm teaching Hestia.
What I
Uh,
have, yes, Hestia.
yep, okay, that's what I'm teaching on Sunday. And then tomorrow I have the full moon ceremony tomorrow because we can access the full moon for 3 nights. But definitely go and do some stuff tonight if you guys have time and if you want to. I mean, I definitely have some stuff I'm going to be doing tonight for the moon. So go do some stuff tonight too to connect to the moon. And then, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for full moon ceremony. And then Sunday, I will see you for Hestia. Hestia. That's what we're doing, Hestia. I totally just, man, it's been a while since I've taught, you can tell. Okay, thank you guys so much for being here with me tonight. I super, super appreciate it. Have a good rest of your evening, guys.